What's up, everybody? Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis here with Inside Arkansas. Welcome to the Pot at the Palace postgame show following another loss for the Razorbacks, 71-63 today to number 8, Florida at Bud Walton Arena. Man, tough one here. Like, Andrew, we were talking about it before the end of the game, before we went live here. Like an expected loss, I think, for Arkansas. I mean, it's like I said in the preview today, wrong team coming to Bud at the wrong time. Arkansas did some things very, very, very poorly, particularly on the offensive end. They also defended and did some things well enough to make the game ugly and be within striking distance, cut to 3 at one point, but couldn't get over the hump. I think at the end of the day, just frustrating to see this team where it's at right now. No real identity at this point. And man, the box score numbers offensively look rough out there. But nonetheless, for Arkansas, they're 0-3 now in SEC play. And, buddy, they got a hole that they're going to have to climb out of, and I'm not sure that they're going to be able to do it. Time will tell.
Yeah, of Arkansas's 3 SEC games, all of which have been losses to this point, I guess you could say this is the most acceptable, like the least bad of the losses, because you really got just outdogged against Tennessee, completely failed to show up in that game. You lost a very, very winnable game against Ole Miss. You lost a winnable game here today, but of course you're doing it against a top 10 team that had just blown out that same Tennessee team. And so I guess it's one that probably easier to stomach for the fan base. And honestly, it's a weird game to react to because it's not like we saw anything like brand new in this game. It's not like we saw a new development of like something that we didn't expect. It kind of played out about how it probably should have on paper, maybe. And I guess kind of how a lot of and I was telling you right before we went live, like, this is actually worst case scenario because it's like if Arkansas just completely not shown up and gotten hammered today, we would really have a big picture discussion about what's going on. If they had taken that step forward and really won the game, or even really like lost in a more competitive way. I know it was an 8-point game, but it really was. It stayed in that 10-point range for pretty much the entire second half, outside of that one little moment with that DJ Wagner dunk. We could really be making the case for a step forward. I honestly feel, Curtis, like this is just a nothing burger of a game where like neither team played particularly well. I think that's what makes it disappointing. It's going to make it disappointing to look back on because I think Florida's a good team. They're going to be a threat in the SEC. This was by far the worst game they played in SEC play. You feel like Arkansas at Bud Walton Arena, if there's, with some desperation in your bones, you should really be able to go out there and make something happen. But the story is the same way it's been for all of SEC play. Arkansas just can't score, man.
Yeah, it's rough stuff. This was, and it's interesting because earlier in the season, Arkansas they were shooting it fairly well, but they had problems putting a lot of points on the board. And I remember talking over and over about just like felt like they were taking foot off the gas. But at the time, we could look at it and be like, yeah, but they're playing like 6 guys because they got these injuries or whatever, and maybe they just don't have the horses to do it right now. But now against better competition, you're seeing that this might just be a real offensive problem for the Razorbacks. I mean, they came into this game averaging 59 points per game in SEC play. The only reason they got over that today was because of some hollow stats there at the very end. And the shooting percentages were all a little bit lower than they have been in the other games. So tough stuff, man. I mean, you look at it and Arkansas did defend Florida better than Tennessee did and better than Kentucky did. So like, I don't know, you got that going for you. They scored 20 more points than Tennessee did on them. But it just doesn't feel like anyone gives a shit about that right now because they're tired of losing. And I'm sure we'll hear the thing after the game about, we're fighting and, catch us in February and we got to learn how to win and be patient and all that. But like at some point, I understand people want to stop hearing about the labor pains and see the baby. And now that they're in this hole, the sense of urgency has to be through the roof. And honestly, it might even be too late, even though it's early. So I thought Arkansas did a good job on 2 of the big 3 guards for Florida. Walter Clayton goes 4 of 15, Will Richard 4 of 11. Like they gave up 16 offensive rebounds. That's a lot, but that's, about par for the course with what Florida typically does to teams. And Arkansas grabbed 15 themselves. The difference was you look at the second chance points and Florida turned those into 19 and Arkansas only had 6. And the reason why is because they missed layup after layup after layup after layup. And you go back and look at it, 2 of 16 Arkansas was on layups in this game. That is horrific. That's real bad. Real bad. So we could go through every player. I know a lot of people are piling on Johnell Davis, who was terrible in this basketball game, but it was a group effort. I mean, there were only a couple guys who I thought played well offensively. And, it goes back to maybe they're just not quite as good as we thought they were individually, A, and B, the system that they're running out there, whatever it is, if it doesn't involve them getting out with numbers in transition, it's an ugly watch on that end of the floor.
Yeah, this was kind of like the great value version of Arkansas's game against Tennessee, where, you play good defense, you hold a team to under 40%, but you get out rebounded, and that kind of makes the difference. And I liked how you mentioned the second chance points, where Arkansas was getting their offensive boards on the other end. I felt like the rebounding battle, obviously you knew it was going to be tough against a Florida team who just out rebounded Tennessee the way that Tennessee out rebounded you. So obviously that's a big thing you circle, but ultimately this was a rock fight. And it was a game that, like you mentioned, it became more of a half court slugfest. And Arkansas, it's going to be tough to win that game when you're getting out rebounded, when you're shooting 30% yourself. You go 3 of 16 from 3. Your guards just really weren't able to create much consistent offense, like, at all. And ultimately, like we kind of been the story of SEC play. When Arkansas plays good teams, they don't force enough havoc defensively. So then it really does just become a test of who can get better shots. And when you're doing that in the half court, this Arkansas team, with the way it's currently constructed and the way they're playing, they're not going to win that type of game. And so, the level of competition is going to decrease here up in the next few games. I think that's going to be, if Arkansas is going to find some type of identity and find something to build on, hopefully they can do it against those other teams. Maybe they can disturb them a little bit. Maybe they can impose their will and start actually forcing teams to react to what they have, rather than just kind of being behind the 8 ball, trying to make sure your ducks are in a row against some of these other more talented teams. But Arkansas's got to find a way to get out and run. The more that this becomes just a half court team, we see the deficiencies in it, especially with maybe 8 guys in the rotation.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Arkansas was going to need to make this an ugly basketball game to have a chance to win. They successfully did that from the game plan standpoint. But man, once again, they got off to a really good start. They did that against Ole Miss right out of the gates, and you're like, okay, they came to play today. Well, now, we have a game today where up to the first media timeout, they look great, man. They were intense, energetic. Bud was rocking, and shout out to the crowd. The roads are better than I thought they would be, but it was a nice crowd regardless, and they were loud and engaged, and obviously left very frustrated from this one. But man, the hits just keep on coming for Razorback fans here. Make sure, folks, that you get into the chat. We're not going to yap too much about, there's not that much to break down, because we've been putting this on repeat, what feels like for several games in a row now. But this is more about your reaction and venting and getting off your chest a little bit. So make sure that you do that. And we appreciate everybody that's tuning in here. So man, yeah, I don't know. It's another frustrating result, and we'll see where they go from here. What I will say is, you lost 3 in a row. You played 3 top 25 teams. I don't care because 2 of them have been at home, and it shouldn't matter who you're playing at home. But now you have 4 games in a row against very, very beatable teams. Now Arkansas hasn't proven they can beat anybody in this league, but damn it, you better go win all 4 of them. I think that's where they're at now. You got LSU, Mizzou on the road, and you got Georgia and Oklahoma at home. You better go 4-0 if you're serious about being a basketball tournament or a basketball team that's actually going to flirt with the tournament this year.
Yeah, and I think that's there's a lot that's concerning about this team in their first 3 games in SEC play. I think that's the big alarming thing that comes out of today is, you just didn't feel like they took any step forward. And ultimately, again, I think this is a fine, acceptable loss, but I don't know if this is the team. I don't know if they understand the severity of the situation. And so I don't know, maybe being out on the road will be good for them. And then maybe the next time they come to Bud Walton, it'll be a different atmosphere, a different feel with this team. But yeah, they just need something good to happen so you can build on it and get that snowball effect rolling. And so perhaps these 2 road games against the Tigers of the SEC can kind of be, you can just win no matter. I feel like you need that slump buster, even if you win 56-54 in Baton Rouge on Tuesday, that'll be something that this team can build on. And maybe that's all it'll take is just that one. But right now, Arkansas desperately needs their slump busted. And we'll see if they can make it happen. But yeah, I think that that it really does need to be the mentality of the team and of this fan base of like, you've dug yourself a hole. It's not an insurmountable hole at all. I mean, you read off the numbers the other day that they were still projected in 51 of 53 brackets or whatever it was. Like they were still kind of on the right side of the bubble, at least according to Lenardi and all the big guys. So it's not like this loss is going to drastically change that outlook, but it really has to start now. Like there's no more breathing room. There's no more time to mess around.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Yeah, just a couple things. We're gonna get right into the chat here, but thinking about just some of the things like you're not gonna be able to shoot 30% and beat anybody. I started a chat, so I don't want to get into it too much, but the backcourt efficiency shooting from the field has just been horrific. 3 of 16 from 3. That's just it's 2025. Like you've got to be able to shoot and make more 3-pointers than that. It's been insane. And they were stuck on 11 for the longest. Like they chucked a few there at the end, but they're not even attempting them. It's like if you're not making layups, and you're not making free throws, they got to the free throw line. We've been freaking out all year about getting to the damn free throw line. They get there 35 times and they leave 11 points on the board at the stripe. And then not even attempting threes. And then you're not running any offense, getting any actions. And then you're not getting out in transition. I come back to where I was after Wednesday. Like, what is the plan offensively? Because at least on defense, like they can't defend the pick and roll to save their life. And that's not going to change. It's been a thing for Cal and it always will be. But at least you can see the plan or like the vision or the potential for a good unit there. Offensively, I just don't know what they're trying to do. And it's like if they're going to beat LSU on the road or anybody, like they got to score point. You said it a while ago, like they can't score. At some point, they're going to have to figure that out, or the losses could really pile up here. And it's I don't know what the way out is for this team offensively, because I look at it sometimes, I even tweet it out. You got to have somebody besides Boogie who's willing and able to just create something off of the bounce. And he's not finishing around the rim at this point. Like nobody else can even do it. DJ might be able to straight line drive every now and then, but they don't have anybody on this roster who can break their man down and get a shot. It's scary. It really is.
I think if the plan is to call for a ball screen and then dribble somehow away from the rim, they do that a lot where they'll like set a screen and then they'll dribble away from the rim. If that's the plan, they're following it to a T. It was like the 9-minute mark where I believe it was Boogie that finally actually found Adu on a screen and roll, and he actually was able to finish it. And I was like, oh wow, it's the first time like they've really looked for a big man. And Adu, there was multiple opportunities that they missed as well. And look, I'm not saying Jonas Adu is like a guy that you need to build your offense around, getting him as many paint touches as post touches, just throw it in and let him cook. But I feel like it's been a consistent theme that we've talked about. They don't really look for the big men on a lot of those actions. I felt like DJ had a couple moments where he was decisive, got into the middle of the defense and either made a pass or was able to attack at the rim and finish. But yeah, I mean, 2 of 16 at the rim, that's insane. I didn't until we were like right about to go live. I didn't see that stat. That's unreal, man. And like, obviously you got to give some credit to Florida. I mean, they just held Tennessee to 43, but and Arkansas faced 3 really solid defenses to start SEC play. So like, that's a little bit of tough luck, but you would like to think that facing those defenses would kind of force you to grow, force you to evolve, force you to kind of try different things. You talked about needing a game plan. Like, I don't feel like after this 3-game stretch against 3 really good defenses, we're any closer to finding out what Arkansas's identity or their plan is on that offensive end.
Yeah, no, they have no idea what that's going to be. Okay. Well, let's get into the chat and roll through these things. See how everybody's feeling in here, which based on just some glances at it, it's not great, and I don't blame them. Appreciate the super chats as always. Stripey Swig, thank you. He says Florida was very beatable tonight, and we're so stupid and dysfunctional that we couldn't even capitalize on it. Done with Hogs basketball. Well, there you have it. A lot of people are done with Hogs basketball right now. And how the hell am I supposed to talk you out of it? But you're right. Florida was very beatable tonight. At the same time, you have to credit Arkansas for making them beatable by the way that they were able to guard them and shut down that high octane offense for large portions of the game. But buddy, when Florida needed a big offensive rebound, or they needed to hit a 3, or they needed a response to an Arkansas run, they got it every single time because they are better coached and more together than Arkansas is. And so when they need to make a play, they made it. When Arkansas needed to make a play, they usually did something stupid. It's just kind of where it's at. Dribble off the foot, screw up a dribble handoff and kick the ball out of bounds, take an ill-advised shot, miss 4 or 5 more layups, and then Florida gets down there and converts. And that's just that's the difference in a good team and a team that hasn't figured themselves out yet.
Yeah. In terms of being done with Hogs basketball, Stripiest Wig, which we appreciate the super chat, wait until they lose to a bad team. Obviously, they've played really poorly against 3 good teams in a row, but wait till they lose to a couple of bad teams, and they will. Don't just give it time. Now's not the time. This is a weird time to exit because it's like this was a game that, like, even if they had played well, might not have won. Wait until they lose to like Missouri, and then we can really be like,
there's going to be a better opportunity for a massive crash out here at some point. Yeah. So yeah, you might want to leave that bullet in the chamber just a little bit longer.
To be clear, you should be very upset and very frustrated, but don't be completely out yet. Wait until they'll give you a time.
Watch one more. Watch our live watch party with us. Actually,
yeah,
we're going to be streaming live from Brothers Meat House Tuesday for this LSU game, and I'm sure that's going to go well. So that might be the good opportunity for you because we'll be able to react real time to everything that's going on during the game. Can't wait.
I'm sure that'll be great.
No Sheep Sherlock. That's a good one. That's a good username there. Says this team has no heart, no pride at all. See, I saw a lot of people putting that out on Twitter and everything. Guys, I'm sorry. Like I didn't get that from this particular game. I thought Arkansas played extremely hard. They really competed. They just shit down their leg. I mean, just because they're giving up offensive rebounds doesn't mean there's not effort there. It just means Florida's better. And they were more physical, better at getting in position. But I didn't feel like this team quit or packed it in. They were just missing a bunch of layups, missing free throws, unfocused, didn't execute. But the effort standpoint of it, I don't know. Like maybe I need to watch the broadcast because I was there. I don't know. I didn't get that sense in this game necessarily.
There was maybe a play or two here or there. I saw a couple people talking about transition defense, and there was, I think, at least two different possessions where Florida was able to just make one quick pass and get a look. But I definitely
was miscommunication. I think.
Right. And there was another one of those where a driver just straight line drive and just nobody picked him up. Nobody was helping. Again, like I didn't think that was a theme of today's game, that Arkansas lacked effort, or even like more. I thought there was actually like some times where Arkansas was going after loose balls. Like there was actually a little bit of that, a little bit of a spark. I mean, not trying to throw a parade and give them credit, but I just didn't think that like lack of effort was the root issue today.
Right. Yeah. Like congratulations for trying hard and losing, but yeah, I feel you, man. But yeah, like I thought it was some communication breakdowns. I saw that one there at the end where they were getting back and then Boogie left his man, which was the deepest man back. And so Jonas tried to go take him, and then Trevin ran out to the 3-point line, and they all left the 7-footer who was just streaking down the middle for a dunk. Like that was more communication based. And then I think people get irritated thinking that they're not trying, like it's an effort thing, because it seems like they're just kind of jogging around and real casual in the half court offense. That I understand. I just think I just think it's a bad offense. And they don't set good screens, and they don't cut with purpose. And they don't really have a lot of read and react type stuff in there. So it looks very slow and kind of half-hearted. I do understand that. Maybe that's what he's talking about there. Casey says, "Oh, John's sitting this one out. Smart man. Johnny ain't been one of these in a minute. This is our show. Damn it. No, just kidding. It's producer John for the Pod the Palace postgame show. He's recording the press conference for us and then getting those clips here. But hey, he can hop on in here at any minute if he's got something to say. I'm sure he's ready to let something off of his chest too." Addison says, "I'm so sorry, Kurt." Thank you.
It's the correct way to view this. Yes.
I'm sorry too, but just remember, we're in this together. Okay. We're on the same team here, guys. Squealy Dan, he says, Nelly Davis being good was crucial to this team being good. Nelly Davis is 1000% a bust. Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely unequivocally no argument to be had that it has not gone according to plan. Now, rumors were he was back after Wednesday against Ole Miss. And then he wasn't good in this game. And I get it. There's just this need, I think, for people to single out one guy and really make him the scapegoat. It was Chris Likes, a couple of years ago. It was L. Ellis last year. it's Johnell Davis this season. And so I get it, being frustrated. He was not good at all. He's going to get an F when I do the report card later. Spoiler alert. But if you look up and down the lineup and you look at the team stats and box state, like what, I mean, who was great, like who was really just balling out there. This was a team effort, I think, in terms of the offensive performance for sure.
And I like what Squealy Dan said about Nelly being crucial to this team being good, which is a fact. I mean, the team was built with him in mind. Now, obviously, everyone says, hey, we can adjust and realize he's not that guy. Okay, and that's all fine and dandy. But for everybody that's like, why does he keep playing? Why do they keep giving him opportunities? Why does he keep shooting? It's like, because again, like Squealy Dan said, for this team to be good, he has to give them something. It's clearly not going to be what it was supposed to be, but he has to give them something. Today he wasn't able to do that, and it's been that like that a lot. But I don't know. Arkansas doesn't really have another option there. I mean, unless you want to extend Carter Knox's minutes, which he's clearly not prepared for, unless you want to extend Billy Richmond's minutes, which he's clearly not prepared for. Like, this team is built for Johnell Davis to help. Will he? I don't know, but it's not like there's like another option B to go to.
Yeah, and him not being that guy, to your point, Schoolie Dan, like it has dropped Arkansas's ceiling significantly. It has. Their best is not as good as it should have been coming into this year, and we're going to find that out when it's all said and done. Kyle Schrum says Cal's offense is so easy to guard. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. When they're getting stops, getting out in transition, and they were really heavy downhill early in that game. And that's when you see that this team is talented and what they can be. But all it takes is for the opponent to start making a couple shots to where you can't get out with numbers and being able to get back and set their half court defense. Arkansas ain't got nothing for you, man. They got nothing for you. It was a mess out there. And then they took Boogie out of the game. And I get it. He's been bad all of SEC play. He's not been good. But you take him out of the game, and for that stretch there, and people were pinning it on Nelly because, like, oh, he came in for Boogie, and then he was, they cut the lead back and everything. And yeah, he played a factor in that. But like, what was Arkansas doing? Because how many times in that stretch did Jonas Adu have the ball at the top of the key with the other four guys, Nelly included, just standing there? And he was trying to dribble, and it was a shit show, for lack of a better term. It was a complete failure without him out there. It's like Boogie has not been the best at scoring or distributing or initiating the offense or getting them into it quick enough. But he's kind of been the only hope that they have in terms of getting any type of anything going so far. And now you see the results over the course of the last 3 games of this team offensively.
Yeah.
Joe A. Hogg says, we're done. No tournament this year. Time to start asking Cal real questions. Well, you can ask him whatever you want. He's not going to answer them. I don't know that he even listens to the questions that are asked of him. He's just going to say whatever he wants to say. If you guys haven't figured that out by now, then I don't know what to tell you. And that's not just here. I mean, it was the same thing at Kentucky and everywhere else. Yeah, I mean, based on current trends, you might be right about the tournament. A lot of basketball left to be played. And so, like, for people who say that, like, oh, it's still early. That is true, but they could also just play equally poorly for the next 15 games. So, it's kind of up to them to see if they figure it out and actually make the improvements or not. But I mean, what I said about these next 4, they got to win them all.
Well, and also to the point of like time to ask real questions about Cal. It's like, it's kind of like the Nelly Davis thing where it's like, there's not another, like, what are you going to do? Like, just abandon ship and just blow it all up right now? I guess you could do that. And you could do that in the offseason. You could say, hey, you know what? It's a 1-year Cal experiment. Let's say F it and let's just blow, then what do you do? Then your program's it's kind of like you just got to accept the shit that you're stuck with.
Yeah.
I mean, frankly, that's kind of where you're at.
Yeah. This is not ideal. This is not what anybody
saying. You have to be okay with that. Just telling you, like, that's the reality of the situation. Like, will this team be able to figure out? I don't know, but they have no choice but to kind of run it with the 8 guys that they have.
For sure. Yeah. And it comes back, this same thing. Like, it comes back to roster makeup. Jeff says Boogie has talent, but he's not ready to be a leader. Barry Nelly deep on the bench.
For who?
I mean, do you want to see Cash Chavis that bad? Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. I wish that there were alternatives to what's going on right now. There's not. I think the only thing they can do, they don't have a choice with Boogie at all. I think that they need to start the big lineup. Like I think it's time to stop messing around and go Boogie, DJ, Thero, Trevin, and Adu. I think it's what you have to do. But like Johnell Davis is going to play. Sorry. I mean, he's going to, and you just got to hope that he has more games closer to what he did Wednesday than to what he did tonight. But maybe that's a reduced role than it is right now, but that's also going to depend on the other guys. Because it's easy for them to do the lineup that I just said, but guess what? Big Z's unplayable right now. So if you play Thero at the 3, you have no rotation in the front court. So then what are you going to do? Like they're going to have these 3-guard lineups out there. So either, Johnell Davis is out there quite a bit or Carter Knox is out there quite a bit, and pick your poison right now. I think is kind of where you're at.
Yeah. I also, I was just going to say, I saw a comment that was like, well, I know Knox would be better than 0 for 8. Well, he was 1 for 7.
He was 1 for 7. Yeah.
I guess technically, yeah. But it's like, again, it's like you can say, hey, let's bench that guy and let's play that guy. We know who the guys are that are going to play for Arkansas. Like there's honestly no point in discussing it at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sucks because the easy thing for me to do in like when things get bad, when I got to put out a video every morning, it'd be easy to go like, hey, is it time to give so-and-so a look or do this shake up or, go deeper in there is no bench. So,
just talk to the bench. There is no bench.
Chris Archer, he says, all I can do at this point is laugh. It's better than getting mad. Seems like this is the norm. That's probably a healthy approach right now. As opposed to letting your blood pressure continue to rise there. Eureka Strings, I think this is pretty well said. He says, I understand the extenuating circumstances, and those do exist, but that doesn't make you feel any better. Johnell and Adu have been disappointing. Both are shells of themselves at Arkansas. Adu was closer to what we expected today, but the first couple of games of SEC play, it was like, who is this guy? And what has he done with the one that walked into Bud Walton Arena and had a massive double-double on Arkansas when Tennessee came to town last year? So he's definitely not the full version of himself, but I'm at least encouraged by what we saw from him today. I thought he defended well. I thought he competed, and when he got his touches, he made the most of them. Nearly a double-double there from Jonas against, I don't know if it's the best, but it's damn sure the deepest talented front court in the country. Can he build off of it? Who knows? We had this discussion about, Johnell 3 days ago. Can he build up on it? Can he stack games? That answer was no. So we'll see.
Yeah. I really thought this was the best game Jonas, or maybe not the best game he's played as a Razorback, but given the context, probably. And you mentioned how Arkansas might have to go with that big lineup. If you're going to do it, obviously Jonas Adu is going to be a very big fixture in that, very big part of it. And so I guess he might be like the silver lining from this game.
Yeah.
Him in Brazil, I guess.
Him in Brazil for sure. Yeah. Shout out to Brazil, man. He played hard as hell. A lot of people have been in the comments on that. Like, why is he coming off the bench? Crazy how he went from a low effort player to the biggest effort player. That's positive for the year. Shout out to TB, really, really playing his tail off and competing and accepting his role. I wish he would be a little bit more aggressive with his offense, like let it fly a little bit more. You've earned that, I think, by how freaking hard you play. You can't be any worse than anybody else right now, letting a shot fly every now and then. So why the heck not, man? Sean Phillips, thank you for the super chat. Yeah. We appreciate that. He did double down, which is good. We double appreciate that. There he is. Brazil needs to be in the starting lineup. Yeah. I mean, I think it's time, like if you lose 3 in a row like this, you got to shake it up. You got to shake it up somehow. I think that's the best way to do it. But what do I know?
Everyone asks, Davis or Knox? The answer, neither.
Yes. I think you're right. David, our resident sunshine pumper, and he declared himself that. Some good questions here. He says, how do you fix the rebounding issues? It's obvious the rebounding drills ain't working. What can you do schematically to try and help? It was a little bit of a double-edged sword for Arkansas in this one today because early they were placing such an emphasis on getting out in transition. If you're going to do that, then you got to have your guards leaking out a little bit. Like you got to have your point guard kind of opening up to get the outlet. You got to have a wing hitting the floor so you can push the ball up. But what that means is you can't have all 5 going to the defensive glass. And so early on, they were getting away with it. They came out of the media timeout, and Florida grabs like 7 offensive rebounds in a row. And then you had to make that adjustment. So it was like, okay, we got to really chip in a little bit and start focusing on the defensive rebounds. And the sacrifice is we have to actually try to execute a half court offense, which didn't work. So I think part of it is just they just don't have the meat, the depth in there in the paint for some of these teams. Like Tennessee is just way more physical than them. Florida just had dude after dude coming in there and grabbing the boards. But what I will say about Florida is they were very strategic with it. They just had noses for the ball. Like based on where the shot was taken, they knew where to go. And so some of it can be IQ. And a lot of times rebounding is like an effort thing, like find a body, box them out, go up, high point the ball, whatever. But there's also something to be said for like having a nose for the ball and understanding where it's probably going to come off. Like if somebody's shooting from the left wing, a lot of times you think it's going to bounce weak side if they miss. And Florida was always there. And then Arkansas did a good job of getting position sometimes. This happened to Trevin several times where he would be like on the opposite block, kind of where he needed to be for the rebound, but then the Condon kid would come and box him underneath the rim, and then he would be able to get it. So it's just there's a lot that they would need to work on there to get that figured out. And what's kind of surprised me is that I thought Thero would be super, super effective defending 4 men, even when teams go big. And he is in ways, but rebounding, they've been impacted there because these guys are just able to stick their hand over his top, and a lot of them are just tip outs that they wind up getting. So it's going to be problematic for them anytime they play a team that can rebound like Florida and Tennessee, and you just hope you don't run into too many of them.
Yeah, this team desperately needs like a 6'9" guy who has no skill set other than just being big. Like just another guy to throw at these teams, like you said, it would desperately help.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. I thought this was interesting from Apparel Blue Dot says, we look scared. I thought that too, or like they had the yips at some point after missing so many shots around the rim that really started to show. I think we saw that with Nelly on there's one missed layup in particular. I remember we saw that with Boogie. We saw it with Thero a little bit. It's like, man, we missed so many here around the rim that maybe, I don't know if scared is the right word, but like timid or just overthinking it or something. I don't know.
There was one floater that Boogie threw up near the rim that I really genuinely do not think he tried to make. Like, I think it was one of those, like, he just wanted to get it up and didn't want anyone to block it. And then Thero had the one where he like came from behind the backboard. And if he had made that layup, it's like, oh man, that would have really, but again, to your point, it's like, there's just a little extra, scared, but it's like just a timid nature around the rim where the Florida's impact definitely was in their heads.
For sure. This is the one I wanted to pull up. Samuel Brooks, he said our guard shot a combined 7 of 32 from the field. And that's, and it's a game after Boogie and DJ went, what was it, like 9 of 33 or something weird.
Right.
Like,
it was close,
what it was. Yeah. That's not going to get it done. It's absolutely not going to get it done. Arkansas did a better job of rebounding those misses in this game. Like we said, 15 offensive rebounds. That's great. We've been asking Arkansas to do that all year, and they do it against one of the biggest, most physical front courts they're going to see, but they couldn't get anything out of it. And then you go back and look at all the missed layups, and now you know why. So
there you go.
Philip Frame, we appreciate the super chat for sure. He says, Cal can't coach, should be fired yesterday. Well, he ain't getting fired. Sorry to tell you about that. That's not going to happen. Can he coach? He's got a lot of adjustments he needs to make if this team's going to reach its potential. And I'm not sure that potential is as high as maybe we thought it would be going into the year. So, Lance Walker, thank you. He says, why can't this team rebound? Rebounding is effort and attitude. Yeah, we just kind of talked about that. That's some of it. But again, I like, if you're surprised by Florida getting a bunch of offensive rebounds, you haven't been listening to me all week. I'll just say that. They just absolutely dominated like destroyed Tennessee on the glass a couple nights ago, the same team that did that to you a week ago. So like this should have been an expected outcome, whether we're frustrated about it or not. Like, I don't know, but you know, on the flip side there, like we said, I mean, Arkansas did get 15 offensive rebounds in this game. So yeah, definitely some things to continue to work on, but it honestly wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, if I'm telling you the truth.
And to that point, Curtis, I'm not going to say like, hey, I'm happy with the way Arkansas, you know, rebounded in this game, but like ultimately like, it kind of played out better than the Tennessee game. So it's like they may have even taken a step forward based on what they were up against. I understand the energy and effort. There's a lot more to rebounding than energy and effort. There's also being very large and having a nose for the basketball. And to your point earlier, like Florida did a lot of that, and they do that against everyone. And I'm not saying, hey, just because they out rebound everyone, you should be happy that they out rebounded you. But I didn't buy that was as big of a factor in the game. The shots that they made after the rebounds and the shots that Arkansas didn't make after their offensive rebounds, that was more of the difference there.
Yeah,
definitely not an effort thing.
Right. All things considered, those second chance points that Florida did get that Arkansas didn't, and the missed free throws, like, I mean, there's your ball game. Master Red Eye says useless Nate Thompson.
That's a good point. That's a sound point.
It's not being talked about enough, I'll tell you that.
The launch angle hoop hogs, man.
Yeah. The student section says Jonas Adu doesn't deserve the ball in pick and roll, to be honest.
Well, when he's open and he has a good matchup,
Why
I think
not?
He could give it. Yeah. I mean, better than dribbling back to the top of the key and just like circling it around the perimeter for 30 seconds. I don't know.
All right. Super Python 98. Appreciate you. He just wants to give a shout out to the Chicken Man.
Yeah.
Wonder how he's feeling right now.
That's Carter Knox, right?
Yeah, sure.
He is the Chicken Man, right?
He is the Chicken Man. He's the McChicken Man for sure. So Brian LG says we'll be the most talented 7-11 SEC team ever. I hope so at this point. That would be nice to be 7-11 because that would mean you probably made the tournament. But yeah, I think among all the high and low takes, this is the accurate one. Yeah, no kidding. JP Sullivan, thank you, brother. He says you guys are always here, even my heart hurts. Thanks, Inside Arkansas. Yeah, we are always here. It's one thing we are is present. We'll we'll say that.
Omnipresent Inside Arkansas. And look, I know your heart hurts. Our hearts hurt too, although mine is hurting a lot less because the Texans are just playing tremendous football in the second half, man. They're just playing a damn good half of football. So, you know, it softens the blow a little bit, but it won't always be bad, JP. I'm not saying it'll always be good, but it won't always be this bad.
I certainly hope not. I think you're right, though. I'm going to go with that optimism.
I have no choice but to be right. Eventually, there will be a day where it's not as bad as this.
This is true. Blood Diamond Entertainment appreciates just as highest paid coach in the SEC, and we're out coached. Yes, that is absolutely what's happening currently. What I will say though is, let's run back the clock 1 year and think about all the things that we ever said about Calipari. Right. And why we hated him, because a lot of people thought, hey, this dude's really not that great of a coach from an X's and O's standpoint, especially as the game is modernized. But buddy, he sure gets a hell of a lot of talent and wins that way. And he hasn't been doing it at the level that he was for the last few years. But I mean, if we expect him to go from Lexington to Fayetteville and all of a sudden be a maestro on the whiteboard there, it's probably not the right expectation to have,
That's a great point. And like, look, I still, you should still be upset about losing. You should still be upset about being out coached, frankly. Like it's not trying to say that like, hey, this is all acceptable. That's definitely not what we're saying here. But to your point, like, it's not like he was hired with the chalk in mind as like that was going to be the path to it. It's not like you were hiring even Eric Musselman, who isn't a super X's and O's guy him like that. You kind of thought, hey, this is a meticulous guy who's going to help really coach us up a little bit. Like Cal, the premise was always he's going to bring in a shit ton of talent and it'll be fun to watch the team play. And the talent just isn't performing to the level it should. That's what's happening here.
Right. Yeah.
And he's to blame for that. No. But like, I agree with your point.
Of course. Johnny Young says you forget Cal's offensive coordinator that he had last year didn't come with him to Arkansas. Actually, I don't. I've been talking about him since Cal got the job. I've been talking about Mr. Welch since he decided to go to Fresno State. I talked about him throughout the course of the offseason during the mailbags when people were asking, like, why would it not work out with Cal? I talked about him earlier this week when somebody called and asked about teams who are getting offensive gurus, to come fix that area of their game. So no, definitely have not forgotten about that at all. But I will say, maybe it's something he considers in the off season if things keep trending in the current direction. I would hope, at least.
Yeah, I started this for that reason, Curtis, because I knew that you had not forgotten that. And in fact, I would like you to find one outlet in the state of Arkansas who knows Welch's name, who has ever said anything about him, because we've been talking about that for months. We talked about that as soon as this whole Cal thing happened. We were like, that would be a guy he needs to bring on staff. I understand, like, not everyone listens to every single video we put out, but I started because I was like, that's rich.
It's been frequent, but you're right. It's noticeable now for sure.
It sure is.
Because that's one thing they were last year at Kentucky was fun on the offensive end. Andrew Hartman, the silent super chat.
I love that.
So just shout out to you. If you don't have anything to say, shout out to you. And shout out to Matt Landers.
You got to shout out Matt Landers. He had like 900 yards that one year. That was pretty good.
Johnny, he came back in and said that he was just talking about other fans, I guess. That might be.
Okay.
I get you. I feel you. Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh my goodness gracious. Man, I just saw something that was okay. Master Red Eye says every big man we've played has schooled Adu and Z. I didn't have a problem with really anything Adu did defensively today.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, obviously, there's always room for improvement.
Z,
but,
yes.
I didn't think that. Yeah, I didn't think that was like the story of the game. I didn't think this wasn't like a Colin Castleton on J Will type of thing.
Yeah, no, I didn't think that at all. Let's see. Somebody, we have an outsider, I think. Kimmy Lou says, I feel like y'all's team has no chemistry. I don't know if they even know each other's names. They even talk. There's no pride or friendship. Sucks for y'all.
Mean. Like, just a mean comment.
Wow. Oh, hit us where it hurts. Why don't you, Kimmy Lou? But I mean, to your point, I mean, it's, I don't know if chemistry is the word or continuity. It definitely hasn't gelled. And like, I saw somebody else and I might've pulled it up. I don't remember if I did or not, but it was like, why do we have to wait until February to win? Nobody else does. Like, I get it. They're very far behind where they need to be right now. And man, I think I'm actually going to have to log off social media for a few days because the piling on that's going to happen as a result of an 8-point loss to the number 8 team in the country from like, I mean, Jeff Goodman's going to have a field day and I don't blame him. The Eye on College Basketball, it's my favorite college basketball show to listen to, but they already prefaced it. Both of those guys had Arkansas to cover, and Matt Norlander had him to win in this game, but he was like, I don't even want to get into too much of a discussion. Let's see what happens in this game, and we'll really dive into it on Sunday's show. Cal's just going to get destroyed for the next few days here. And I get it. And hell, I've been critical myself, but yeah, tomorrow is going to be like a Netflix binge or something for me, man. I can't do this. It's not good for the health, bro.
There are things bigger than sports, Curtis. But to Kimmy Lou's point, though, I don't get the feel that like Arkansas's individual players like don't like each other, or that like there's like a weird, and I really don't even know if chemistry concern is a thing that I have. But to your point, I don't think they've gelled. Like, I just don't think they're a collection yet. I just think they're individuals. I think they probably do like each other. I just don't think they necessarily have a symbiotic basketball relationship necessarily.
Yeah, for sure. I see a lot of people talking about like next year, and well, somebody's pissed about this. Number 1 portal class, number 2 recruiting class. That's why we had expectations in year 1. That is why we had favorable predictions for this team in year 1. Like, I don't think any of us were really buying into like, oh yeah, their Final Four level right away. But I think we all expected them to be way better than they currently are. And but nobody could have known that they were going to have some bust issues, with their top end transfers, and it would maybe be quite as bad as it is right now in terms of the eye test, but is what it is. But a lot of people are super excited for next year's team with Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff.
We're
Seeing a
turning
lot
the
of that.
page already, huh?
I mean, I get it, but this is I don't know if there are some personnel issues with this team. But man, after seeing the struggles that some what you thought would be sure things that we've seen this year, I'm definitely going to be a lot more delicate with the wait and see approach. Like, I'm excited about those guys too. I think they're both really, really good. But what are they going to put around them in terms of some veterans, some proven guys, maybe some actual real life shooters? And then will they be able to use them? I don't know, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about that in the offseason, which, damn it, might come to us earlier than we want it to. So I'll save that ammo, I guess. Let's see. A few more things. But I mean, Bobby G says, I wish Kentucky fans would move on. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a rivalry, like I really don't mind it. When Arkansas struggles with Cal, they're going to take their victory laps, and they've earned that. Like that's part of the deal with the rivalry. Cal spurned, whether they wanted him back or not, Cal spurned them and came to Arkansas. So that's just going to be a thing. When Arkansas is rolling, we're going to give it right back to them. When Kentucky loses, we're going to give it right back. That's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It stings more when you're kind of on the receiving end of it and you can't say anything. Like it's just, and that's the situation right now. So it probably crawls under the skin a little bit more. So
yeah, definitely. We won't want them to have moved on if Arkansas goes in a rup and wins. We will want them to be lingering on it then. My only real issue with the whole thing, and look, I think you're absolutely right. Like, Kentucky fans should be taking victory laps. Hell, Arkansas fans would be doing the same thing if they were in their shoes. My only thing is like the revisionist history of like acting like to the point we made earlier that we thought that Cal was going to be this like completely different human being. Like, we knew what the circumstances were. Bring in elite talent, have a fun team, see if you can win. Arkansas brought in elite talent. They just all happen to suck. Like, that's kind of where we're at. Like,
they have not been a fun team. Yeah. Appreciate Phil, who's just he's really gotten the in-game chat going here. Phil, buddy, do we have something for you? We already mentioned it, but Tuesday night during the game, instead of you chatting with yourself on the stream, we're going to be live from Brothers Meat House in Bentonville, so people can come out and check it out and hang out with us there. Or if you can't make it, then you can be on the live stream, and we'll be interacting with everybody during the game. So looking forward to that. But appreciate the super chat. He says last March he was with his friend in Pittsburgh, where UK and Oakland were playing. I tried to get him to go. He didn't agree. After the game, we both said Cal's lost it. Then he became our coach. Well, we'll see. The non-negotiable for him is going to be upgrading the talent and depth next year. Regardless of how this year winds up playing out. Like, maybe they turn it on and win a bunch of games and go win a game in the tournament or something. Who the hell knows? But regardless, I thought going into this, and I definitely believe it now, that this is the least talented team he will have at Arkansas. That needs to upgrade. He's got to have more bodies, man. He just has to, especially in the front court. My God. Okay. Just a few more, and then we'll get into, actually, do we have some clips now?
We do have some clips. Yeah, we got some clips.
Okay.
Which one do you like? Do you want to hear about missed layups? You want to hear about leadership in the crowd, or just about energy?
Let's do let's start from the top and work our way down. We'll skip the fast start thing. Nobody cares about that, but let's see I like his opening statements, because that's usually when he's the most off the cuff. It's kind of a lengthy one, but bear with us. Let's hear what he has to say about playing with some energy for a change.
Top 10 team, hold them to 39% from the floor, 28% from the three, out rebound us by 10. A bunch of those were at the end of the game. Offensive rebounds. We miss a bunch of free throws, miss a bunch of layups, and we still have a chance, and then we start missing free throws. So I got to look and say, are we playing the right people? Are we playing the right way? We're getting shots. We're getting layups. We got to the free throw line.
I'm sorry, I can't do this. That was so much hat for the first 30 seconds. Like, I can't do it.
all the rebounds were at the end of the game.
That's bullshit. They had 12 of their 16 offensive rebounds in the first half. First of all, they weren't getting the shots and everything that they need. Like, it's just, do I have to start looking at who's going to play? You can't, because of the way the roster was built. Like, I'm sorry, I can't do that one. I appreciate Cal. And I said after the Bob Holt thing, like, I'll defend him to my grave as a man, but come on now. Let's try a different one and see if we can do a little bit better here. Maybe he has an explanation for the missed layups. We have a clip here that's titled "Missed Layups." I'm anxious to see what the wording is here.
It was
2 of 16.
That's what it says on the stat broadcast. Yeah.
No way. There's no way a team goes 2 for 16 next to the basket. Won't happen. That's wrong.
Okay.
It's 2 for 10 maybe, not 2 for 16. No way.
Okay. But was Florida maybe doing anything defensively that was causing you guys issues there around the basket?
I'll look at the tape, but we were spreading the court so we could get to the rim. So we were taking bigs out, or it was a big going against one of their bigs.
One thing about Cal, man, he's got to look at the tape.
I mean, what are we doing? I'm speechless here. I watched it. My
no
goodness.
way a team would go 2 of 16. There's just no way a team would go 2 of 16 around the rim.
It literally just happened. I mean, I can't watch any more of these. Did John have any musts that we need to play here? I mean,
I don't think so.
Dude.
But I don't know. I mean, easy to correct.
Yeah, go for it.
Is that a clip?
Go for it. Yeah.
Where are we at? Hold on. Easy to correct. Let's see what he had.
Free throws, open shots. Most of that stuff's mentality. And we can talk and go and, when we grew up, we didn't have this social media barrage that these guys have. There's a lot of stuff coming at them from around them. And I've just got to hold them accountable, let them know what's acceptable and what's not, and keep building them up. But you got to go in the game and perform. That's your job, to get in the game and perform. Your job is to perform. My job is to coach. If I only play you 15 minutes, in that 15 minutes, show me you should play 20. Show me you should play 20. You play 10 minutes and you want to play 15. You play 8 minutes and you want to play 20. Show me. Show me. Show everybody. So everybody's saying so-and-so should be playing more. And we'll see. This isn't easy for our fans, for our team, for our coaches, for me. It is what it is. Let's go on to the next one. Get this thing going. Thanks.
On to the next.
We're on to Baton Rouge.
On to Baton Rouge, baby. That was a little bit better, I guess. Whew, sorry. I just, those first two, I mean, they got to me, man. They got to me. I almost said some things I probably shouldn't have said. Yes, I think it's the first time I've been speechless on one of these live streams here. Holy cow.
To be fair, we probably shouldn't have expected anything riveting to come, like any real big picture answer to come at the press conference of an 8-point loss where the team continued to make not a ton of progress. But really, I go back to what I said at the beginning of this show, which was I just feel like today didn't really accomplish anything, good or bad. It was just kind of, it wasn't a horrible performance. It wasn't like one that we need to get our pitchforks out for, but it also wasn't a good one. And I don't know if it was a step in the right direction. We're just going to have to kind of wait and see if this team ever if they ever do start kind of working in the right direction. Hell, I mean, we really do have a must-win game on Tuesday, though.
Yeah.
We got our first actual must-win game of the year.
That's a fact. And then if they win that one, it's going to be a must-win at Mizzou. And then they got 2 that they can't drop at home. I mean, it's just that's the reality of the situation and where they're at. You know what's crazy is how many times have we done these post-game shows throughout the course of this year, and then we usually do the clips towards the end, so the press conference wraps up, and then we're like, oh, seems like Cal's kind of in sync with everything we've been saying. That's good. Now they've been losing, and it's just I think we're on different wavelengths with what we're seeing here. So I don't know, but that was that was wild, bro. Oh man, there ain't no way they missed so many shots at the rim. Ain't no way. You have any final thoughts? Anything else you want to say before we get out of here? That was wild.
We're on to Baton Rouge. Meet us at Brothers Meat House.
Yeah,
that's where the season turns around. Brothers Meat House, Tuesday night.
That's all we need. We just need to get together, and we all need to watch one of these together as one big dysfunctional family. Can't wait for that. Well, there you have it, folks. So Arkansas falls to, what is it, 11-5 now?
That sounds right. Well, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, 0-3 in SEC play. Tough times, but you got the weekend ahead. You can all enjoy that. We really do appreciate everybody for rocking with us, getting in here, venting, letting it all out, and for all the support and everything. Make sure you get subscribed to Inside Arkansas. I'm going to do everything I can to continue to find interesting ways to talk about this basketball team until they start winning games again. And appreciate all the listens. And then if you're tired of that and you've moved on to baseball, good for you, because Andrew's got bombastics rolling out pretty much daily at this point. So thank you guys. As always, we appreciate you for tapping in with us, and we'll be back to continue talking about it, and hopefully brighter days are ahead. So for Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson with the Pot Palace, we'll see you guys.